Last, but certainly not least, not in anybody's mind, anywhere, anyhow, Andrew Winters, our Director of Capital Projects.
Thank you. So a lot of people who are here have probably seen the first few slides of this presentation. It's really about the full build campus and the plan, but for people who have not seen it, I'll go through it pretty quickly and then I'll catch you up to date as to where we are and where we're going. So the overall campus plan, just in a few slides. Laboratory of innovation, you've heard from Doug before, we are all about inventing new things, and so using the physical campus as a laboratory for the built environment and for innovation is something we take very seriously. Open and inviting to the public. I think everyone who's been part of this project knows that we succeed when we invite people onto the campus and we become part of the city and people feel comfortable coming onto our campus. So that's one of the core values of the design that you'll see. And finally, sustainable and energy efficient. At the cutting edge of technology for all, cutting across all disciplines, but we're very focused on sustainability and taking world leadership positions on new projects, which I'll talk about. Again, the overall site plan, most people have seen this. It's a three-phase, 30-year plan. What we're focused on at the moment is phase one. You see it on the right-hand side of the screen. It's the Bloomberg Center academic building, it's the co-location building, it's the residential building, and most importantly, it's the overall landscape and a rebuilding of the entire public realm, including the streets and the sidewalks and the public open spaces that surrounds the campus. It's 12.5 acres, that's Cornell's property. As part of the first phase, we're developing about 5 acres, including the buildings and the landscape. That's what's under construction right now. I always start with the public open space, and this is one of my favorite images of the campus, because this is the campus lawn, which is really central to what we're trying to achieve on the campus. Doug talked about the interior of the building and collaboration. It starts at the exterior of the building, and it starts with the community and with the city at large. This campus, this lawn is an invitation for people to come onto the campus and to participate in what's happening on the campus. And not only is this my favorite image, but I'll show you my favorite part of it. Does this pointer work? So this is a sidewalk. This is a public sidewalk. This is a private university campus. There's no wall, there's no gate, there's no separation between them. This is an open campus, and we value that very much. And you'll see this is not the only place that happens. All around the campus, where we have walks onto the campus that connect with the public realm. That's really part of the vision of the campus. Here you see the Bloomberg Center, Bloomberg Center academic building, the co-location building, and the residential building. So I'll go through just one slide on each. The public open space, more than 20% of the site, a minimum of 20% is required by zoning to be open space. In fact, it's going to be a lot more than 20% that's going to be open space. No gates, no walls, no barriers. I mentioned that because I'm very focused on that. I talk about that all the time. In addition, public programming on the site. We're developing this not as just a lawn, what I showed you, but there are other sites within the campus, an outdoor classroom, educational areas. We're really looking to activate the campus and bring people onto the campus and to use the public open space as a real asset, not just for us, for our community, but for the broader community. And before I get off of this slide, I want to take a minute to introduce Stephen Noon, who's a new member of our team. We're very lucky to have Stephen. Stephen came from one of the world's leading landscape architecture firms, where he oversaw design and implementation of some of the most wonderful public open spaces in New York City, including Brooklyn Bridge Park. An incredible record to be proud of, and someone who we feel is just a wonderful addition to our team, because he'll be focused on the quality of the public realm as it's developed on the campus. He's out on the site 5 days a week. He is, even in this meeting, he's been emailing with our team about preparations for the storm, so he's very much engaged with what's happening on the site, and again, he's a terrific representative for Cornell here in the community. The Bloomberg Center, collaborative work environment, Doug already talked about that. The net zero goal, including the generation of solar energy on the roof, geothermal underground, and a public cafe with extensive art and programming for the public. Again, looking to invite the community into the cafe. You can come into the cafe, you don't have to go through building security. There's food, there's bathrooms, and then of course behind security there are meeting rooms and other sorts of facilities that are for use by Cornell Tech, but also for use by the community. The bridge, which is the co-location space for companies, Cornell is going to be leasing about a third of it, and the other 2/3 will be open for lease by companies that are interested in locating near the campus, or on the campus, but near the students and near the professors to take advantage of the research and the work that's going on there. And finally, the residential building. We're particularly proud of the announcement that we made back in June. This is the first high-rise passive house building in the world. What passive house means, it's a standard out of Europe for reduction of energy usage in a building. It reduces energy usage by between 60 and 80% below a standard type of building. It's the first one in the world. We're very proud to have it here, not only in New York City, on Roosevelt Island, but as part of Cornell's commitment to testing out new technology and demonstrating how things can be done better. So in phase 1, in 2017, a little less than 24 months from now, we intend to open the campus with the Bloomberg Center, the co-location building, the residential building, and all of the public open space associated with it. So the project schedule, very quickly. We started the demolition of the hospital in January of 2013. People, I think, are familiar with that project, and we ended it in June of this year. We started site work in December of 2014. That's the public open space and the utilities. We started the Bloomberg Center in March. We started the bridge, which is the co-location building, in May, and we started the residential building in June. And as I mentioned, we're looking at a phase 1 opening in summer of 2017. So I wanted to share some pictures for people who haven't maybe had a chance to follow this as closely. We do post pictures on our construction website. I invite everyone to go there and check them out. But I thought I'd just pick maybe one of the best pictures of each month. I tried to find the sunny and bright pictures every day. In the winter, that was a little bit difficult. But this just goes to show where we came from. I think people are generally familiar with the hospital that was there back in December. By January, we had cleared the entire site, got approval from the Department of Buildings to start construction on the new project in January. February, a reminder of the snow. You can see the beginning of some of the site work. In March, we started the Bloomberg Center, which you see some of the excavating equipment here, getting ready to do that, while the hospital was still being demolished. By April, again, the hospital is still under demolition, but we're already doing excavation for the Bloomberg Center in preparation for the bridge co-location building and also the residential. In May, you can see the Bloomberg Center is fenced off, and they're deep into excavation, and they're also into excavation here on the site. What you're not seeing here is that we're also working in the roadways, replacement of all the utilities. Gas, electric, IT, water, storm, sewer, everything is being upgraded and replaced completely. The road is being widened as well. June, you can see major construction. July, beginning of concrete. August, basements are starting to form. In September, you see the basement of both the Bloomberg Center, as well as the co-location building, as well as the residential building. This is a photo that was taken just this morning. You can see the steel going up in the Bloomberg Center. Here's the crane that was just brought into the site. This shows us the Bloomberg Center over here on the right, the co-location building in the center, and the residential building you can see all the way to the left. The other thing I want to point out, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, is this is a photo from about 9-something this morning with a barge coming to the site with tractor-trailer trucks on it to deliver steel for the Bloomberg Center. So current and upcoming work. Right now, what are we doing? We're installing utilities in the east and west roadway. They're both closed to the public at this point. We're installing utilities on the campus, and we're looking to complete the CUP structure, the central utility plant, and start the installation of equipment over the next number of months. The North Road, I'm pleased to say, we expect to be reopened by the week of October 12th. We've replaced all the utilities there, and it's going to be paved on a temporary basis early next week, depending on the storm. It might be later next week, but we do intend to have it open, which will allow traffic to flow back down to the south of the sports park, which we know has been an issue. The Bloomberg Center, as I mentioned, we started structural steel in September. We're going to start the facade and enclosure work in January. Similarly with the bridge building, steel is underway, as you saw, facade enclosure in winter, and residential superstructure will start to go up in October, with the facade and the enclosure starting again in the winter of 2014. Just a few pictures. As we keep talking about, we're working under the roads. We're excavating material that was there. We're demolishing it, and we're replacing all of the utilities around the site. We're working with the private utilities and the public utilities. Some are owned by the city and some are owned by the state. We're working with all of those entities on the replacement of all those utilities. This is the North Roadway. As of just a couple days ago, it's going to be repaved, and as I said, open hopefully next week. This is a picture I like down the east roadway. You can see that the entire asphalt has been pulled up on the east roadway. This is equipment that's being put down, I believe this was for either the water or the sewer, the main. This is the low point of the site. We had some interesting issues here with the tides. As the tide rises, this actually fills up, and so we had to work some pretty strange hours in order to work only during low tides. This work is done. This is from a little while ago. This is actually, I think, mostly repaved at this point. But you can see the extensive nature of the work, pulling up all the asphalt, pulling out the curbs, widening the roadway, and replacing everything underneath. I know some people have asked us why the roads have to be closed during this time, and I thought that would be better than to describe it. At the Bloomberg Center, this is the first piece of steel going up. This was last Wednesday, last Tuesday, and now you see one that was taken just about 2 days ago. We're going to pull a lot of steel up. At the bridge, the publication building, excavation for the basement, and again, putting in utilities. The residential building, they're really just starting to get the foundations up and out of the ground. Again, the residential building. So I want to talk about the construction commitments. I know that Jane already mentioned them a little bit, and I'm sure there will be some questions about them, but some of the key ones that we're focused on is reducing the truck traffic through barging. I'm going to talk about that and show you some pictures in a minute. We also committed to a minimum of 17% MWBE participation in construction. That's not just on the Cornell sponsored projects, that's on the private developer projects as well, and we're achieving those goals. Union labor on all construction projects, again, not just the Cornell projects, also the private developer projects, and we're achieving that as well. On-site air monitoring, which we are doing, and we're uploading on our site every 2 weeks for people to see. Extensive roadway and utility improvements, I think I've already talked about those. And finally, communication with Roosevelt Island stakeholders, and that starts with Jane and her presence at the gallery twice a week, with meetings that we have with REOC every week, as well as the quarterly meetings with the task force and public meetings such as this. And our website, which we do update on a 2-week basis, showing what we're doing and putting up pictures and air monitoring information. Oh, I'm sorry. Minority and women-owned business enterprises. So I'm just going to talk about barging for a few minutes. We spend a lot of time and energy on this, and I want people to understand what we're doing.